So let's say there's a house that's worth ARV 130. I get it subject to at 100. I can turn around and still do owner financing to the next buyer, charge them a higher percentage as the monthly payments roll in, keep the equity, and even have it assignable.
Yeah. Basically, okay.
Yeah. Do I got that right?
What's wrong with that, baby?
No, that's everything. That's the whole pie. It's the dessert. It's the cup of tea. Okay, so I got to pay a little bit of extra paperwork, but if I get a monthly cash flow plus interest, plus the person could default, so I can get a new renter and get them out. Am I missing something?
That's it, man.
I don't think you're missing a damn thing. I think you got it.
Shut up, money. Yeah.
What's going on in everybody's world out there? Joshua, you got a question?
Yeah, for sandwich lease options. Do you do many of those?
I do, but I'm very selective.
Sure.
Yeah.
What about do you ever keep a mortgage on the property when you have the sandwich lease option?
Well, when I have a sandwich lease option, the original homeowner's mortgage stays in place. See, and I'm not on the deed, so I can't get a loan on the property. It's not even possible. So it's not a way to, like, in other words, let's say you had a lease option deal and there was $30,000 worth of equity. You picked it up from the homeowner for $100,000, and you know the property's really worth $130,000. So you put a buyer in there for $145,000, and you're waiting on them to cash out. So you got $45,000 worth of equity in that house. Yes, you do. Technically, you do. You control $45,000 worth of equity in that property. Unfortunately, you can't touch it until somebody buys that place for $145,000. And the issue becomes you can't go to a bank and get a loan on that equity.
So what would you do to, just in case one of the parties file bankruptcy or somebody dies, maybe the homeowner dies before they exercise the option?
Yeah. Usually your contract should read that it's binding on the seller, the homeowner, and heirs and successors and so on and so forth. That little phrase right there should take care of it. And as far as in the case of death, now, and as far as the question, it goes with the people that are, what was the flip side of that one? The first?
Bankruptcy.
Yeah, that's right. Bankruptcy. Bankruptcy, how this works is, if a person in the United States goes into bankruptcy, and by the way, I don't look down on people that file bankruptcy. It's your God-given right as a United States citizen to fuck up so bad you have to start over. That's the truth. Pardon my French.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Take advantage of it if you need it. Okay, that's the way life works. When they came out and said Trump had filed bankruptcy on some of his companies, and oh, how horrible! I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, Walt Disney filed bankruptcy like 7 times or something. So, it's your God-given right. So these people that are filing bankruptcy, they're just exercising their right to start over. Now, when they're exercising their right to start over, typically, I'm not an attorney, but the law typically makes it work like this, where as long as the payment continues to be made on a credit situation, that credit situation will not be considered a part of the bankruptcy. It will stay in good stead. So if you are dealing with a homeowner that feels, or you feel like they may be going into bankruptcy, it is best for you to get information about the mortgage company so that you can make your payment direct to, or your tenant buyer can make payment direct to the mortgage company and not to the homeowner. So the homeowner doesn't have a ethical or a moral quandary once a month when they get that payment and they have to decide whether or not they want to go ahead and send it to the mortgage company or just let that go into bankruptcy too. And who gives a crap?
Isn't there like third-party payment processors?
Yes, that is also an option. Yes. It's an acronym, RNMP, or what is it? I can't remember, but basically, yeah, that's what it is. They'll collect money from the tenant buyer. The tenant buyer can send it to them, or you can send it to them, and then they will pay the mortgage. they'll keep record of it. Yeah.
Right.
So great questions, man. Great questions.
Yeah, that was good. And then, I mean, I don't know if this is more of an extension of that, but like adding to it is like foreclosures. I mean, you have an opportunity to potentially cure that as well. I mean, just depends on the situation, whether you're curing a back payment or whatever, but you have to make sure you get that authorization for lease info, you know, so you can talk to the bank and just confirm what the numbers are. Because a lot of times when someone's going through that situation, they might not even know. They might not even know what the, you know, how they're so far back, you know, in payments and that. It can really throw things off. So make sure we get that signed.
Mitzi, she's on the call here, but her husband gave me a document package for the state of Texas, and the state of Texas for lease options. And in that packet, there is a document where you get authorization from the homeowner to gather mortgage information from that mortgage company and to deal directly with the mortgage company in their stead, which is an excellent idea in the state of Texas and everywhere else, really, if you think about it.
Yeah, I agree. Any idea what that costs, Justin? As far as that processing fee, like if you're sending it to that third-party payment processor, I've heard, you know, 1% to 3%. It can vary, but you found any flat fee companies out there, or know of one?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not. I don't use it. Rick does, though, I think. Rick, are you using that?
No, sir.
Oh, rats. I thought you were. Dang it, Rick. You had one job to do.
Nice, sorry.
All right. That was a great question, though, Joshua. And thank you, Rick, even though you were literally no help at all there. I'm just teasing, man.
I'm in a bad coverage area, so I actually missed part of the question, so my apologies. I'll go back and listen to the recording and cry later.
Okay.
Do you know any third party operations and what are those fees typically run?
Yeah, I think you mentioned like 1% to 3% is pretty typical. I have not seen a flat fee, though. I have not seen a flat fee because it is really just based off the dollar figure of the property itself from what I've researched myself.
Fair enough.
Right.
How much chuckling hands, that's what I figured. Okay. And, you know, one of those things, Justin, a property management company might kind of act as that if you have that in place, right? If you think about doing, obviously if you scale, if you're doing any sort of scaling, you're doing 5, 10, 20, you know, you have all these properties under contract, and you're getting this in, you're not going to be able to handle that. So these guys, they just property management companies, but I don't know if they act. I'll find out.
I recommend you do sandwich lease options once you have a foundation under you, have a little safety net money wise. Okay. If you're one of those individuals that spends every penny they make, okay, instantaneously, you know, and it's not just because you make just enough. It's like because you judge yourself. If you're one of them kind of people that spends, and I'm talking to, it could be any of you or none of you. Okay. I'm not pointing anyone out here, but you know, you spend your money. I've been there, man. I used to be that guy. Like it doesn't matter if I had $100,000 come in or if I had $100 come in, it was gone. You know, and that's just, if you're that kind of guy, you know, you're especially running the risk here of doing, if you're into sandwich lease options, because you need a little safety net because you need to hit a payment or repaint a place or do something. You know, you need to be a little stable. Okay. Have some momentum. So don't do one until you've done a few wholesale assignment lease options, and then take on the sandwiches But I recommend doing them in your own area where you can drive to them without it being a major inconvenience. Okay. Now, if you're in LA, that might be tough. All right. There's some other places.
Screw it. Might as well just take a helicopter, bro.
Yeah. When are they going to start making drones big enough where we can just like strap in and?
Yeah, I know, right? What the hell is that, Inspector Gadget?
That's like a drone, man. That was my drone imitation, where it's like big enough to like strap on and you.
Yeah, that's what Inspector Gadget used to do.
I love that show though. It was a great show.
He'd hold on to it and he'd fly off.
Oh, that was the best show ever. Yeah, it wasn't the best one ever, but it was one my mom would let me watch. I lived a very sheltered childhood, sort of.
Some.
But Mr. Gadget was okay. Inspector Gadget.
Shut up.